Howdy folks, yeah, it's the usual Washington winter day, almost Christmas. So I've got a very slight problem today. I've got the key on and I notice my mirrors when I switch them, I got wonky mirror. See, look at that. The switch, I think, is worn out. It works, but barely. So, and then the other side is kind of on again, off again. So, I went and did some looking in here, and I came down to the conclusion it's just basically the switches had it. So I'm going to change that right now. I ordered a new one in. This is made by WVE. I got this from Rock Auto. It's one of the more expensive ones that they sell. I was trying to find a Motorcraft one, and they're just not on there. But this is on there, and was about the same price. So hopefully it's a real similar switch to the Motorcraft one, mirror switch. So I'm just gonna pop this piece off right here. So hold tight 1 second. It's kind of stiff, so I'm gonna keep the door closed. It's pouring rain. This just pulls straight up with it has this tab on one end and this connector on the other. So pull it from the front back and it should pop right out. Then you'll notice that right here there's a push connector. Just push that and unplug it. And then from the back side here, there should be some little push-in deals to release it from this plastic thing. This is this right here has two plugs in it, so individually they just come out like this. And then this last one has a thing right here. So push it. That's the door lock control. Push in the locking tab on it and work it out. Now you've got this thing loose where you can get this switch out of it. All right, here's the easiest way to get this switch out of this hole. So this is towards the back of the truck, this square end with the red thing on it, the red switch on it. This is the mirrors is towards the front. So push on the back end, towards the back of the truck side, and drop it out that end, okay? Then push this other side here and get it unhooked. And then you should be able to push back on that and punch it right out. Then you take your new switch, same thing in reverse. You just stick it down through and snap it in. Nothing to it. Okay, so now it's just a simple matter of matching these back up red. You can't put this together wrong. There's no way. It only goes together one way. The red one goes in. That's your door locks. Then you got this bigger one here. That's your passenger side window. And then you got your other side here. It's your driver's side window. And these plugs are different sizes, so you can't mix them up. And then this last one is your mirrors. So much better. Other side. Much better. All right. So then you'd put the back end first. This little tab goes in first. Push it down in. Make sure all your wires are ready to go down through the hole. I'm gonna open the door so I can see it a little better. Whoop. Back in first and then push it, snap it down in. And there you go. Now your mirrors are working perfectly again. No more gungy switch. My truck unfortunately has to live outside because it doesn't fit. It's too big, doesn't fit inside. So, alright, so there we go. That's fixed. And our windows, I turn the key on for that. Windows. And door locks. All that still works good. So there we go. Mirrors are fixed. Come on, you wanted to see inside of it, didn't you? Okay, so there's the terminals on this side. This goes into the plug-in, so all the wires come in here and go to these little bit terminals down in here. And then all your little switch contacts are right here. Here and here. And then this is the assembly that you when you push this toggle, it pushes these little, this little swash plate goes up and down and pushes on these little terminals, which then make contact in this end of it, and that works your mirror remote for left right. Left right would be this section down here, and those are just moved by moving this selector here, which rotates and engages the appropriate one. And then, so that's, let me get something to point with, that's these ones, that's your left and versus right. And then these other contacts here are your left, right, up, down on this toggle right here. So this is actually serviceable as long as you don't break it getting it apart. You just pry these little tabs out and pull it apart. And these little contacts here are cleanable. You could take some electromotive cleaner and spray those down and get the corrosion off of them. So it doesn't look like there's any real wear in this. There's no obvious corrosion, maybe just a little bit of burnishing, and maybe a little bit of corrosion in this hole right here. And I was only having trouble more or less with my right mirror, and so and I see a little green around that. So yeah, this even pops out, this board here even pops out of this thing right here. So I don't see any reason to do that because this is the important part. So I think this could all just be cleaned and then it put back together, and it would probably work just fine. Of course, I have the new switch in, so I'm probably not going to switch back to this, but it's kind of neat to see how it all works. So I might clean it up and just hang on to it for a spare. Put it in my stash, my truck stash. Okay, so I got some QD electronic cleaner. This is for switch contacts. And then I've got a little dielectric grease that prevents the corrosion from getting back in there. So I'm just going to set this one aside. Set this one aside because all this appears to be working. All of this appears to be working normally. I don't see any wear on any of this. Okay. So the meat and potatoes of it. Set that aside. It doesn't have any this is the electronic end of it here. Electric end of it. I got some green off of that for sure. See it? See how, I don't know if you can see the color on the end of it, but the color's some green corrosion, and that cleaned right out. That thing came clean and nothing flat. Probably could have just done this. I wasn't sure until I got it out, you know, got it at where I could see it, if it was actually even serviceable, you know. These little tabs here, I think what we can do too is just bend those out just a tad bit. You're not too far, just a little. I don't really have a good tool. Hold on. So I'm just gonna bend these out just a very slight amount, you know, because they get fatigued being in there for 21 years. So just kind of working those up a little bit. Then the rest of this stuff I'm gonna make sure that all of these points are good and clean, you know. I had some trouble with my map lights in the cab, quit working, and so I took the dome light assembly down and took that apart and did the same stuff with it, and man, that thing works like $1,000,000 now. So it's just all these little connections can get, you know, a little bit corroded because they're not that well sealed. And my truck does stay outside, like I say, but you know, I try to keep the cab nice and dry on it. You know, it's not leaking water or anything, so it's dry in there, but there's a lot of humidity in the air. You know, it's probably 70 or 80 or 90%. I know it's pouring rain out there at the moment. So those all look really clean now. It's pretty good. And then these guys right here, I'm just going to spray this whole, see, this is actually the side, that, you know, that makes the contacts. Well, you don't want to bend these out too far so that they come in contact with this all the time. You only want these to touch these when the switch is pushing down on them from the other side. But yeah, so this looks like it goes, yeah, like this. So you got to make sure that those aren't in contact, and they're not. They could actually even come up a little more, but that's okay. I think we're not going to do it. And then these contacts, these three, not just these three in here, but these three out here, those all need to be cleaned as well. Anywhere where the switch makes contact. And they actually look pretty good, pretty decent. The one cruddy one was this one right here. And then this, get these clean. There's nothing on them. Those are pretty clean. And then this is the business end of it, right? Yeah, this side. So just swab everything off. It's this little tab on the very end. I don't know if you can see that. If you look, there's little tabs sticking straight up on the ends of all these. That's what makes your, that's your switch. That's what actually, you know, such a small, tiny contact. It's almost kind of surprising it works at all. Okay. Sometimes too, if you take a pencil eraser, you can polish up. It's just that narrow edge is all that makes the contact. Yeah. Okay. So, to be honest, I'm not really sure I want to put any of this grease in there because it doesn't look like there was ever really any in there. There was some right here on the end of this thing. So you can grease that just a little bit, which rides in the center of this little swash plate right here, and it tips this. And these little pokers right here, these little black things, they sit on the edges of this little plate here, and it's inside here, and when you move that, it moves, see, and that's what pushes these connections up and down. This all fits together only one way. There's only one way it'll go together. So, because there's, you know, just the way it's designed. They designed it so you can't mess it up. So lube that up a little bit. Maybe we'll put a little bit on the other end here. Okay, and then this goes in. There's a little, just lube off my hand, a little flat piece here. Let's see here if I can figure this out. It drops in this way. Oops, I got it upside down. See, it wouldn't go together though. Gotta get it to drop in. Nope, that's backwards. Okay, so it goes this way. There. It only goes together one way. Make sure all those three little plungers are in there still. And see if you push those down when I work this, you can see those plungers going up and down. Okay, so I'm going to push that down in, make sure it's where it's supposed to be. For some reason it doesn't want to drop down in. Oop, that's why. That little thing here came out. Let's do this. Let's grease the end of this a little bit so that it stays put. Might need a tweezer to get it down in there. See, the grease has been more trouble than it's probably worth. Yeah, I gotta grab a tweezer. The grease did it. Now it doesn't want to stick to everything. Okay, then the flat thing goes against this end of it. Like so. Then this thing here drops in on top like that. And then this snaps down and holds it all together. I bet you money that works just as good as new. So, anyway, I wasn't planning on doing that, but I couldn't stand it, so I did it. Alright, there we go. Hey, y'all, take care.